In this demonstration, you'll learn how to view Fluent particle data within EnSite. Fluent has the capability of exporting the particle data natively to an EnSite measured data format. I'll first export out the solution data. I select EnSite Case Gold under File Type. The fluid zone should be highlighted by default. Under Quantities, I'll choose the variables I'd like to export out for the continuous phase that will be written out. I'll select Write. In my current directory, 3 files are present for the particles, a PDF, CAS, and DAT file. I'll use lfuel1 as the EnSite case file name. Looking at my directory, I can see multiple files have been exported out. Among them are the ncas, geo, the scalar variables, and lastly, my velocity variable. This has written out the continuous phase. Now I'd like to write out the discrete phase. I'll go to File, Export, and this time I'll select the particle history data. I'll write out the EnSite format and select the actual injection that I'll export out. I can export the particle variables by pressing on the Exported Particle Variables button. I can then select whichever particle variable I'd like to export out. I'll select the particles for the x, y, and z velocity, velocity magnitude, diameter, density, mass, and temperature. I'll add those variables as the export and press OK. We can specify the EnSite ncas file name which we just wrote, however, I am satisfied with the name I chose. I'll specify my particle file name as measured data. I can also control the resolution and the time space as to the number of time steps that I'll write out. I'll input 25 and press on Write. Fluent will now export out 25 time steps of data for our measured data. I can now see that we have measured data 1 through 25. I also now have my scalar variables and vector information. I actually have a new ncas file created. I'll open this new ncas file to have a look at it. This new ncas file has the measured data specified in it. It also has the scalar per measured node information and the 25 time steps I wrote out for the measured data. At this point, I can load the ncas file straight into EnSite. Using the export capability in Fluent, I can export out directly the measured data for particles and have that straight into EnSite format. Therefore, there is no need to translate outside, and I'll automatically have the measured particle data right here available to me. To view this a bit better, I'll take off the sim plane. I can now see my particle, although they're quite small. I'll select the measured particle part and click on the node representation icon. I'll change the type to spheres and scale by a scalar. In this case, I'll scale by diameter and enter 1000. As I step through time, I can see the particles are getting smaller since they're actually evaporating out, which is why they're no longer visible at the last time step. In EnSite, I can now visualize particles. I can take any one of these scalars, such as particle mass, and color these by that exact scalar. I'll then play them through time. I can see the particles getting smaller and their mass disappears away as they're evaporating in this particular model. This is a basic way of exporting out your particle data and your discrete phase data from a Fluent run and visualize it within EnSite. This concludes our demonstration on how to view Fluent particle data within EnSite.